What's good, y'all? It's your boy BioSpider 3.0, keeping the action going with the Mafex number 210 Ahsoka Tano action figure. Alright, so a lot to talk about with this one, so let's waste no time. I'm going to go ahead and put her on the rotating display stand so you guys can get a better look. But she is one heck of an action figure, I'll tell you right now. And we will get into all the pros and cons here, but yeah. She is absolutely fantastic. I will say I definitely do like her a little bit more than the SHF personally, but we'll get into all of that as to why in just a minute here. Let's see, get her rotating here. So back her up a little bit. All right. Oops, there goes one of her sabers. But yeah, she's got all of her accessories laid out here so you can see her pretty well, hopefully, as she spins on the turntable. But yeah, absolutely fantastic figure. You can see I've got her poncho on. The poncho is actually really nice. It works very well. We're going to talk about all that in just a bit, but we'll get her rotating maybe a couple more times, and then we'll take a closer look here. But yeah, I absolutely love this figure. I've had a blast posing her and everything, so yeah, this is a really fun one. All right, so we'll get one more spin, and then we'll get right into it. All right, and here we go. Boom. All right, so taking her off the stand, push this aside. But yeah, there is the Mafex Ahsoka, and like I said, she looks really, really fantastic. I love the way the poncho sits on her. It's a really nice wired poncho. We'll talk about that. Yeah, might as well talk about it right now. So yeah, the poncho is really, really nice. It did take me a little while to figure out how to get it on her in the best way. And I found that the easiest way to get it on her is to actually pop the head off and then put the poncho, over the body. And then you can obviously put the hood down, and then that way the peg will be exposed, and you can just kind of, you might have to mess around with it a little bit, but eventually you'll get the head lined up with the peg, and then you just push down, and then boom. And then you can bring the hood back up over her head, and it sits very, very nicely, being that it's fully wired all the way through. And I always like to, again, tuck these corners down so that they sit kind of like by her shoulders. And yeah, that really gives you like that kind of show accurate look. And it's got a nice, overall material and everything, and it's not too baggy. At first I was thinking it was going to be a little too baggy, but once you like conform it to her body, it actually does sit down pretty nice. So I was able to kind of, like if you just put it on her right away, the wires are gonna the sides of the poncho are gonna be kind of like sticking out like awkwardly on the sides. So what I do is just kind of fold and tuck those back, and it gives her a nice, very natural look. So it sits around her shoulders really well, and you can see it from the back how it looks. And yeah, I think that looks actually pretty good. So I'm probably going to be alternating between this poncho and then the custom one that I got for my SHF figure. But yeah, it's really, really good. Both ponchos are really exceptional. So I really like how this looks. I think Mafex did a great job on their version. So yeah, let's talk about the pros. So pros with this one: great articulation. They're pretty good likeness here. As we'll see in a minute, I'll bring her in closer so we get a better look at the face. But yeah, her likeness is actually pretty good. Of course, the fully wired poncho, which again conforms great to the body. There's plenty of alternative hands, so those all look great. And yeah. And the nice thing about this is that I found out that not only does the SHF head work on this body, but so do the hands. So yeah, if you have both versions, you can actually swap out the SHF hands, and they will fit on the pegs for this Mafex figure, which gives her a lot of extra versatility. You're going to be able to have her in a lot of different style poses, because this Mafex figure does have different, style hands than the SHF one, of course. And so it's nice to know that they actually do fit on these Mafex wrist pegs. So that is really dope. Not only that, the SHF ones, they kind of have like they have like the ball peg shape for the pegs. And so it's a little bit harder to get the hands on and off for the SHF one. You have to like really pull them and like push them in for them to snap on, whereas the Mafex ones are very easy to interchange. they have more of like a straight peg fit. It's kind of like how the the Black Series Balin sabers with like that little ring around it. Yeah, it just kind of like made it too tight when you would put it in. Whereas these Mafex ones with the straight peg, it's a lot easier. It's just held on by friction, so you can easily swap those hands in and out, and they do feel very secure. But yeah, really, really good stuff. What else? Obviously, her height is more accurate. So, Big Bad Toy Store listed her standing at around 5.7 inches tall, which is very accurate because Rosario Dawson is about 5'7" in real life. And so you'll see here in a minute, or when we get into size comparisons, that she scales a lot better with people like Balin and what's her name, Morgan. I forgot her name for a second. Morgan Elsbeth and Shin Hati. So yeah, she's scaling a lot better, and yeah, I really love that because scale is important to me, especially like in a display. I definitely want my characters to look height accurate as much as possible. So yeah, she definitely scales better than the SHF one. And I just think like her overall proportions look a little better as well than the SHF. Not only that, she's a little better balanced than the SHF figure too. This one is like very easy to get into like a standing position, and she actually feels like stable. I found that with the SHF ones, sometimes she feels like she's like, always teeter-tottering a little bit, like she could fall over at any minute. Not quite as well balanced as this one. So I like that Mafex, made this a nice solid and like very well balanced figure. Like the weight is distributed very equally, which is really nice. And then one of the last things that I like about this Mafex one over the SHF is that she comes with thicker blades for her lightsaber. You can see right here, I did happen to finally find the SHF blades that I lost. So you can see here, this is like the long one that came with the SHF figure. And it's a little thin, man, a little bit thin for my liking. I mean, I do like the white color of it, and you'll see that it's a little more white than these Mafex ones. But I don't like how thin it is. Like, it doesn't look quite as powerful, I'll say, as like the Mafex ones do. Mafex ones have a much thicker blade, and they just look more like realistic and like, like a true lightsaber, I guess. A lot more intimidating. So yeah, this is the, let me see if I can do like a little comparison here. Yeah, I'll just take off one of her hands real quick. That comes off real easily, but yeah. So this is the Mafex, the long version of the Mafex blade. And you can see it's a little more translucent in color. At first I thought it was going to be a little too clear looking for my liking, especially when it was in the package, but I think that was really just the plastic. Once you get it out of the box, it actually does have like a really nice white color to it. It's not like super translucent or clear. It does have like a nice white touch to it, so that's good. If I can get some focus on it again. Kind of hard because it is so, transparent, but it definitely does have a nice white likeness to it when you see it in person. So it might not, this on camera, it might not be the best representation, but it is very nicely done. And yeah, in person, when you see it, it looks a lot better. So if we compare that to like the SHF blade right here, much thinner. And yeah, I definitely prefer how the Mafex one looks because it's pretty thick, all the way through. There we go. That's some nice focus. So yeah, now you can definitely see like the differences in size. And the Mafex one is not only thicker, but it's longer for sure. I don't know. I mean, the SHF one might be a little more size accurate as far as like the length. I do feel like the Mafex one might be a bit long. But I do again like that at least the width is better on the Mafex one. So yeah, that's just like a little comparison for your blades there. But yeah, let's see. So that's most of the pros I wanted to mention. Let me get our hand back on here. I'm gonna actually go ahead and take our poncho off so that we can get a better look at the body. But yeah, the poncho is held by Velcro, so I'll show you that right now. Take this off of her. Let's slip this off real quick. All right, put her aside. So yeah, the poncho is held by a piece of Velcro, and it was a little tricky because it's kind of weird. Like the Velcro, like the fuzzy side right here, you would think it would match up with the underside of this one, but actually it goes this way. So you actually have to put the left one down and then put the right one on top and kind of like invert it or like turn it this way so that you see this little stitching of it on the outside, or that little you see like those like little X's or whatever. You want to make sure that's facing out and then put that on top of this outer part on the left side, and that's gonna hold it together really nice. But again, yeah, you definitely want to pop off the head before you put the poncho on her, because if you don't, you're gonna be struggling. Trust me, I was struggling for quite a minute trying to get it on her. So yeah, much easier to do once you pop the head off. But again, very nice poncho, nice material. It's fully wired all the way through here, and then even in the back. I mean, like, yeah, the entire lining of the poncho basically is wired, as well as the hood. So yeah, it does give her a lot of great dynamic posability. I mean, you can have it looking windswept, or just have her in a neutral position. It's gonna sit on the body really nice and look really dope in case you want to do like photos and things like that. So yeah, there's the poncho. I guess we'll get into cons. We'll get the cons out of the way. One of the cons for her, let's see, right off the bat, is that the orange on her is a little bit bright, but I think like a wash would probably help that, kind of like tone down the orange on her, because she is pretty bright. I think the SHF is probably a little more accurate to the show, how she looks for the skin tone. But yeah, again, I think like a slight wash will probably help tone that down, so not a big deal. And let's see. There are small pieces to change out for her saber display. So kind of like, I mean, with SHF, it was easier because, again, we just had the hooks, and all you had to do was basically like hook her sabers, at her side, just like you would, or like she would in the show. Whereas for the Mafex, you can see I've got the, the hook sabers on her side right now. They get interchanged with these kind of small pieces. So I'll go ahead and show you. So you want to kind of pull from like where the hook is at her hip. If you pull these out, they have like a little peg right here attached to them. So it's kind of like a square or rectangular shaped peg, and then you can see at her side she has like a little hole for them to plug into. So yeah, the like the only like maybe problematic thing with that would be, I mean, these shouldn't be too easy to lose, because at least they're attached to like the lightsaber. But when you want her, like let's say you want her displayed with her lightsabers off her belt, you would have to take these pieces out, which are very small. Hopefully I can even get focus on this. But yeah, these are really small pieces. It's just the hook and then like these little square pegs again. So this would be very easy to lose. So yeah, you're gonna want to be extra careful with this, not to lose these. But yeah, I mean, the good news is that if you do happen to lose these, it's not gonna look too bad, because I mean, even without those like plugged into her side, she's got so much going on like in this area that you're not gonna really like notice that the hooks aren't there. And at least, as long as you still have these pieces, like the lightsaber pieces that plug in, you can always, plug those in to have her lightsabers at her side. Because, if she's not holding them, they're probably going to be at her side anyways, right? So as long as you don't lose these, you'll probably be all right. And then, of course, you have another pair where they don't have any hooks. They're just, I guess, like for her to hold. If you just want her displayed holding them, you get a pair of unhookable lightsabers like that. So there's her Shoto one, the shorter, or is this, yeah, this is the shorter one. So for her Shoto blade, and then you have the longer one that she uses in the right hand, usually sometimes two-handed grip. But yeah, and they're all very nicely detailed. Each of the lightsaber hilts look fantastic. So yeah, just like the SHF one, the details are pretty exceptional. Really nice silver paint, the black, the silver, the gold at the top of the emitter. I dropped it. Where did it go? Shoot, where did it go? Oh, okay, there it is. Yeah, definitely don't want to lose these. But yeah, again, it's got some nice gold up top by the emitter. So yeah, very show accurate saber hilts, so they look really good. But yeah, let's take a closer look at Ahsoka here. So I'm going to take the sabers out of her hands real quick. And they are, you know, relatively easy to get into her hands, which is nice. I mean, when you first get it out of the box, you might have to do some finagling, but once you get them in her hands, they become pretty easy to take in and out. Yeah, let me go ahead and put her hands back on here. All right. So here is Ahsoka up close. All right, so there she is. She looks pretty fantastic. Real quick, I'm gonna show you the head swap. So you can pop this head off. It comes off very easily. And then she does come with the alternate angry face. Now this one, it's all right, but I definitely like the SHF one more. I think it looks a little more realistic. So probably not gonna use this one that much, but it is at least nicely detailed. You can see the paint for the eyes, the lips, the face. I mean, everything looks pretty good. Pretty clean paint work all the way through. So that's the angry head sculpt for her. And then she has, of course, her alternate hands. So she's got these kind of like splayed out, maybe force using or like Jedi mind trick type hands. Very nicely painted. And they come on these little stands, which I love that Mafex gives you these stands, unlike SHF with the loose parts. And then you have these splayed out hands like this that look very nice. Nice detail for like those gauntlet, like those like, you know, pieces on top of her gloves, the kind of armor. Fingerless gloves, those look nice. And then out of the package, she comes with, you know, of course, 2 fists. So I put them on the pegs for her gripping hands, which she has on now. But yeah, she's got the fist hands. She's got these kind of like peace sign hands, but these are technically like gripping hands. So when she's holding her lightsaber, she can kind of like do poses with her 2 fingers up. So that'll look pretty cool. That's a pretty unique display option. So you got those. And then you also have these kind of relaxed open hands. Maybe, you know, maybe force using if you want to use them for that. But yeah, so that looks pretty good. All right. And then yeah, really quick, I'll show you what the SHF head looks like on the Mafex body. Pull that off. And yeah, you can just pop the SHF head on here and voila, boom. And now you have pretty much your perfect Ahsoka. Now, obviously the oranges don't match quite as well because like I said, the Mafex body orange is a little bit bright, but again, I think if you were to add like a wash to like her arms and whatnot, it would definitely look better. But I mean, even as is, it's passable. And I think the overall proportions on her look really, really nice. Like there's the side and like the back and everything. So yeah, I think this looks really good. I'm probably gonna be doing this for my perfect Ahsoka. I'm gonna have this SHF head on the Mafex body because I do think it looks pretty darn good. And like her proportions even out very well, I think. And yeah, I like how the overall setup of like the arms looks, you know, especially like from the back and stuff. But yeah, so let me go ahead and pop this SHF head off, put the Mafex one back on. All right, so there we go. All right, so let's get into play and display for her. So she looks up around the same as the SHF, which isn't very high because of course her Leku runs into her back. So she doesn't look up all that well, unfortunately, but she does look down pretty nice. And the Leku in the front kind of like have a little bit of space. They don't hang directly on her body, so that allows her to look down a little bit better. All right, and then you have like a little bit of tilting to each side on that ball peg, a little bit of expressive poses. And you can technically fully rotate, you know, if you push this Leku all the way around, but for sure side to side, so that's good. A lot of nice wiggle room on that ball. You can raise the arms up pretty high, which is really nice. You can get pretty much like a Y pose, so definitely better than, you know, perfectly out to the side. So that's good. She can get a full rotation in the arms, very, very nice. No bicep swivel, but you can kind of like rotate the arm, and this wrap piece, like, you know, around her arm, it does kind of rotate as well. So that's cool. You got single jointed elbows, but they do get you plenty of bend. So a little bit better than a 90 degrees, which is nice. coming back out. Nice tight joints. Again, you have like a ball peg system wrist, so you can, you know, vertically move her hands up and down, and then as well as in and out from the body. You might just have to like orient the hinge a bit, but yeah, you get a lot of really great range in the wrist. And of course they do fully rotate. For the torso, she can bend forward about that far, which is actually pretty decent. She gets some nice crunching forward, really nice crunching back as well. All right, so that looks pretty good. And then of course you can rotate, you can twist at the waist, and she has some nice leaning to each side. So that looks pretty good. Nice leans, a lot of wiggle room. She can kick the legs up really, really far. So she gets about a, you know, 90-degree kick there, maybe even a little better. So that's nice. And this skirt piece is pretty soft, so it does kind of get out the way. She can kick back pretty far as well. Better than a Marvel Legends for sure. I mean, if you like really push it, yeah, she can really kick back pretty nicely. She does have a cut for an upper thigh swivel, so yeah, you actually do get a thigh swivel on this Mafex one. So that is nice. Double jointed knees that allow, I mean, if you like really bring her foot all the way back, she can line it up with pretty much like the middle of her back, so, or if not higher. So that, yeah, that's really good. Nice flexibility there. Coming back down, out to the side, she gets pretty much a perfect splits. Perfect splits. So she's doing all those samurai poses, looking dope. All right, and then for the feet, you have a rocker in there. You've got a hinge that allows her to get basically to the tippy toes. Comes up pretty nice as well. And then you have a toe hinge in there as well. Pretty nice toe hinge too. So yeah, that's gonna help her stay very stable. But yeah, really solid figure. So overall, really like this one. I think, yeah, definitely my definitive Ahsoka will be this body and the SHF head. I mean, I'll probably alternate honestly between this head and the SHF one, because I think they both look pretty nice as far as like the likeness goes. I think they both do look like Rosario quite a bit. This one I feel like just has like a slightly more animated look to it, but yeah, they do both get the likeness actually pretty nicely. So yeah, nice paintwork, nice details. So let's go ahead and get into some size comparisons. All right, so let's get her, let's make sure she's standing straight here. All right, and first up, you know, we got to see her with her main antagonist from the show. So we got the Black Series Baylan Skull right here. And you can already see the heights are quite a bit better with these two. I mean, definitely compared to the SHF one. I mean, it might not seem like that much on camera, but in person, I mean, it's nice. It's a nice difference. Especially like if you have her in like a slightly more crouching pose, I think it'll work out very well. All right, and then we have a Black Series Shin Hati right here. All right, so there you go. And I think she scales pretty well with her as well. She's just like slightly taller. Again, I might do the mod for Shin, so she'll probably be a little bit shorter later on. But yeah, there you have the both of them. So yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Another Marvel Legends, we got He Who Remains, and then Maximum Spider-Man on this side. So I think that looks pretty good there. All right, there you go. Switching those out. For some Black Series, we have Duels in Darth Vader, and we'll bring in a third sister, Reva from Kenobi. All right, back that up a little bit. Yeah, I think that scaling looks all right. What you guys think? What you guys think? So yeah, there you go. Much smaller Ahsoka, which looks a lot better if you ask me. We'll bring in a Mattel Batman right here. And we'll bring Black Series Morgan Elsbeth right here. I think that looks all right. So yeah, there you go. And what else? What else? We'll bring in a Lightning Collection, Lost Galaxy Green, and Phase 1 Clone Trooper from Black Series. So there's that. And then we'll bring in Mafex Spidey and a Daredevil comic version. So yeah, that's going to do it, guys. So thanks for watching. See you in the next one.